I was gonna do Pubbelly while I was doing Mercadito and treat Pubbelly like a fast food Asian place where you go and get some fried rice and go. And in the middle of opening your first restaurant, they said like, I'm not gonna half-ass this shit.
Yeah.
And I changed the whole menu, and they said I'm gonna go in with the best I can do, and that's how Pubbelly started, with the best I could do in that kitchen at that moment. And I think I did pretty good.
Let me tell you, that kitchen.
You've been in there. You worked in that kitchen.
It's small. It is like, I always say area.
I remember you working that night.
Yeah.
And you know, you're so like, I mean, you're so passionate, and the way you work is crazy. And you were struggling. I remember you brought all these, was it board shops?
Yeah, it was wild board shops.
Wild board shops.
I roasted them.
And you were like, where do I put shit here? I mean, this is crazy.
It's fucking nuts. How many people did we do that day?
Probably like 100, 110.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, working at Novo Sushi Samba, I think I'm a master in mise en place. I call myself a master in mise en place. I go to war every night, so I don't want to, you know, I want to have everything ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's the way I created a menu at Pubbelly where we could get food out fast because it was all in the prep and the flavors of the sauces, you know, and that's why that restaurant was successful from the beginning, because we could get out, you know, people were waiting for tables for an hour and a half, and there's no bar to wait, there's no chairs, people are just against the wall, they're looking at you in the kitchen like, this better be good if I'm waiting here an hour and a half standing against the wall, because this guy doesn't have any seats. This food better be good and fast. So, you know, we bombard people with food.
I learned that I always consider myself very good at like setting up a station and stuff, but I learned the mise en place game, like efficiency game. Hey, José, weren't you off today? Okay, all right. The efficiency game, when you're kind of like painted in a corner and you want to put out your best food possible, but you have to control everything around you because the kitchen's too small, you don't have enough staff. All starts from at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, this might sound cheesy, but we are here for the customer.
Yeah, no, it's not cheesy,
and
it's true.
I work in a restaurant in Spain, a Michelin star restaurant in Spain, that the chef will send back dishes thinking of his ego, thinking of, like, I don't know, what is he trying to accomplish here? If it's perfection, he said, what is it? But the food might get perfect, but the customer waiting 3 hours for a plate is not perfect. And this guy did a risotto. They make risotto from scratch. And the risotto dish, 3 times he threw it out saying the risotto was overcooked. And, you know, like, it's crazy.
3 times.
3 times. Imagine how much this table waited for the food. And that means that everything went out. Everything went to the garbage.
The
whole table. All the fish.
Yeah.
So imagine, say, you have to be realistic of what you're trying to accomplish, and especially with the spaces sometimes that we have in our kitchens.
Right.
And working at Novo Sushi Samba, putting out 1,000 covers, 1,200, 1,500 covers, you know, of good food.
It's all about prep.
It really, you know, it makes you not sleep at night thinking what you're going to do the next day.